if you're too lazy to go get a broker's license to keep doing what you're doing, then you probably shouldn't be doing what you're doing at all. So
What's up, junkies? Welcome back to the RE Junkies podcast. We've got Cole Ruud-Johnson here with us again. He's agreed to stick around and do a bonus episode with us. So, Cole, we've got the bonus episode prompts are you can pick one of three, and then we'll dive in on a quick case study. So, I want you to pick really quickly what was your hardest deal, what was your most successful deal, or what is the craziest story you have in real estate?
yeah, I'll go with most successful deal. So it's not our most successful deal profit wise, but in terms of our journey, I think it was a big turning point for us. So you guys can find my Twitter. You'll find me arguing with a lot of guys on there that think wholesaling is kind of unethical. Spend a lot of my time doing that. And
Yes.
that story kind of aligns with that. So uh, 2020, early 2020, we had just got into kind of text marketing, and we'd sent a text to this lead and gone back and forth for 4 months or so. And he was a builder who built large developments, so he had a lot of money. He didn't need to sell off market, and he had just gotten a divorce. And so we went up to his house in Sammamish, Washington, which is a pretty good area. And we actually at the time, when we had just shut down our operation, so it was back to just Mike and I. It's probably 3.5 years ago. And so we drove up ourselves because the number he told us over text was like insane. Like this house was worth like almost $1 million fixed up. He told us like 500 or something like that. And so we actually brought my buddy and now business partner, James Daner, with us, who was a big buyer up there as well. We're like, hey, let's just get this all done. Let's have him see the house right away. And so we go up there and we walk in the house, and myself and James stayed outside. Mike went in to negotiate, who was kind of our sales guy. And he walked in, and James was like, man, this is going to be a killer deal if you guys can get it. Like, I'll buy it from you like for around 700. If you guys can get it below 700, like you guys can make as much money as you want. I'm like, oh, okay, knowing that he'd already said 500. And I was like, James, what do you want to bet he gets it for? James was like, 690. I'm like, I bet you like 450. Mike's an incredible sales guy. So he went in and he came out probably 20 minutes later, and he had it for 425. And the
Jeez.
builder walks out. He looks at all of us. He goes, I know exactly what you guys are making on this, but I don't care because I like to see young guys that are hustling make money. And that stuck with me forever. So yeah, he was a builder. He was wearing probably $100,000 watch as he walked out of the house. And he essentially wrote us a check for almost 200 grand himself, just and willingly, knowingly. And so that's why I preach a lot that wholesaling is not unethical, because there's a lot of sellers out there like that. We've had a lot of situations like that where, if you're out there doing business, people want to help you eventually. So yeah, that's kind of our most successful kind of journey shaping story when it comes to a deal. I think our net on that was 175 grand.
Wow.
I love it. I love it. And I'm so glad you brought this up because this is actually something that you and I have gone back and forth about on Twitter, being on the same side of things. And you mentioned, like, there are certain things that wholesalers can offer that, like, a realtor can't. And I know one of the big people that I don't know his name, but he goes back and forth with you a lot about wholesaling and calling it unethical and things like that.
Yeah.
His argument is just go get your broker's license, right? Just go get your broker's license. And that is in your situation specifically, that's not what the guy wanted, right? And I think correct me if I'm wrong, but like one of the most important parts of this business and all of real estate is just simply listening and having multiple options. Like,
Yeah.
a broker that only has one option to put a sign in the yard is worthless. I'm
Yep.
not worthless, but like they're not going to win many deals.
Yep. No, to that point, I think kind of my stance on this now is I believe that to transact real estate in any way, shape, or form, if you're going to assign a deal, if you're going to buy and develop a deal, you should have some kind of license. And the reason being, I see a lot of people brag about how many deals they're doing, but you don't realize, like, not really a buddy, but an acquaintance who I talk to often in Washington who does a lot. They probably did 3 million last year in wholesale rev. But they, say, give you an example, in quarter 3, I think they put like 170 homes under contract and they closed on like 23 of them. And so
Wow.
I think that's
Oh,
extremely unethical because you're moving people out of the homes. They're planning, they're telling their family they're moving. People only sell 1 to 3 homes in their life. Like it's not like car. And so
Right.
I think to just to help have people kind of uproot their life, that's the side of wholesaling I do agree is very much can become unethical super quick. You don't want to be putting people in bad spots. So I think there should be some kind of licensing. I don't know what that. I don't think it needs to be a broker's license, but I think if you're going to be buying homes directly from a seller or transacting them, assigning them, whatever that's going to be, there should be some kind of you have to go through something to learn like what that looks like for the seller because people don't know. Like someone that tries to wholesale, they hear my podcast, they want to go try to wholesale. Like they don't know what that means, but you're uprooting someone's whole life. Um, and that's a real person, real situation. So my stance is wholesaling is an amazing way to get into real estate. Do it the right way. Don't take advantage of people. Make sure you execute on deals you can actually perform on. And yeah, so I have no problem with the states right now that are starting to regulate it. Even if they say, hey, get a broker's license, if you're too lazy to go get a broker's license to keep doing what you're doing, then you probably shouldn't be doing what you're doing at all. So, uh,
Yeah, you're gonna be too lazy. You're gonna be too
yeah,
lazy to get deals.
yeah.
Like,
And then I think also like I was licensed when I started and it gave me more options, right? So I think obviously you want to disclose the biggest thing in most states. If you're wholesaling and you have a license, you want to disclose everything. And you should be doing that anyways. But it does give agents more tool belts. The most successful agents I know also are investors because they can take a house and they pretty much no matter what the situation have a solution whether that's seller financing subject to a novation, a wholesale, a flip, a development play, or they're going to list it. So I think that's the beauty of that skill set. But I do agree with Sean on a few things, and that's one of them where I do think there should be some kind of license or qualification to transact real estate in any way, shape, or form.
and I fully, excuse me, I fully agree with that as well. I've had recently a few deals that I've bought from
Mhm.
wholesalers, and you get it could be a great deal, but the numbers are only half the equation.
Yep.
And I think wholesalers should be required to go through a contracts course like every
Yeah.
like every
Oh yeah.
broker is,
Yeah.
understand the contracts in your state at the very least, just to understand like where you're protected, where the seller is
Mhm.
protected, what duties everyone has, what responsibilities everyone has to each other. Because I tell a contract can be written on the back of a napkin. We all know that. But the contracts that get you in the most trouble are those simplified like one-page contracts that you get from any download on Instagram or
Yeah.
TikTok or whatever, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Hey,
Yeah.
download this one-page contract and start
Yeah.
wholesaling real estate." And you're like, "No, no, please no.
Yeah.
Please no."
Yeah, ours is a few pages, not one page, but it's attorney reviewed, and that's the way to do it. So yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
can't tell you the amount of wholesalers that send me deals that they don't even have the date on the purchase and sale agreement. I'm like, you guys don't even have a contract. Like you don't have a date on here. Like you don't have anything.
Yeah.
So it's a real thing. I agree. I think it's coming too. Our country moves slow on that kind of stuff, so it might be 10 years out, but I think it's coming down the pipeline one day.
Yeah. And the more states that the more states that have that regulation and requirements and things are it's only moving in that direction. And you're right, it might take years, but now's the time. If you're doing things ethically, now's the time to take note and do it the right way.
Yep, agreed.
And yeah, and attorney reviewed contracts, like that's a no-brainer. Like spend a little bit of money or trade some kind of knowledge or something with an attorney to get your contracts reviewed. Um the other thing, I've run into wholesalers who they're trying to market properties and it's still listed as active on the MLS.
Yeah,
And you're like, okay, what you're
yeah,
doing is illegal. And so I'm not going to work with you. I'm just going to go straight to the other agent. And then they get upset.
yeah, yeah. It's a bunch of there's little nuances, right? And that's the thing that you have to have some kind of course for. Is you can't. The only way you learn nuances is by being taught in a course or in a class or by experience. And I'd rather not a bunch of wholesalers go out and learn um, what a contract is through experience. That's kind of my rift with a lot of these coaching groups out there that just do challenges, making as many offers as you can. Like people don't know what legal documents are. They don't know what they're responsible for. They don't know what earnest money is. They don't know what title and escrow do. They don't know what a title report is. They don't know what, Form 17 is, which in Washington is kind of our disclosure form. They don't know anything. So I think it's a big need.
I love it. I love it. Well, Cole, I appreciate you guys. All right, appreciate you coming on, and Kate and I appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us today. For those of you listening at home, the this is Cole's bonus episode. Thanks for walking us through that case study. And if you are looking for Cole's main episode, where he shares the breakdown of some of his challenges as he's built multi-million-dollar companies, real estate company, a call center, as well as a coaching and consulting company, and all of that before his 25th birthday. His episode will be right next to this one on your favorite podcasting platform. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review and subscribe to this show. And we'll catch you junkies next time on the only real estate podcast of its kind.